Somebody should.
Audio test testing 1 2 3. Audio test testing 1 2 3. Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer with the Board of Public Works. This morning for Friday, August 4th, 2023, we do have a relatively short agenda this morning. Item number 1 will be presented by Marcelino Asensio. Item 2, Fez Malik. Item 3, Fez Malik. Item 4, there will be a request to continue item 4 to Friday, August 11th, 2023. Item number 5 will be presented by Paul Bigeman. Item number 6, Ian Monte. For Bureau representatives that are on the line, thank you very much this morning for being here. Should the board have any questions for you, we will open up those audio lines for you at that time. Again, this is for Elisa Blake, Sandy Trong, Sherry Kuroki, Angela Martinez. Thank you all for being here this morning. Again, should the board have any questions, we'll go ahead and open up those audio lines for you. We also have a very special recognition of our HBCU engineering students that are joining us through the virtual platform this morning. We will go ahead and add you as panelists in a few minutes to add you to our meeting. Before we do this, I'll go ahead and just confirm, let's see, Sandy Trung, if you can just confirm you can hear us online through the Zoom application, if you can just open up your mic. Sandy Trung,
Yes,
hi, good morning to you. Just want to confirm you can hear us through Zoom.
yes, I
Per-
do. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and good morning again.
Dr. Campos, I think we have presenter for item number 4 here.
We do. Angela Martinez. Okay,
Yes. All right.
we'll go ahead and make that update. For members of the public that are joining us this morning through Zoom or through the landline device, if you'd like to provide general comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda, if you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon if you're joining us through the Zoom application. If you're joining us here live in City Hall on the 3rd floor, there are speaker cards located at the back end of the room. You can go ahead and complete a speaker card, submit that speaker card to myself up in the front, and then we'll go ahead and add you to general public comment or commentary. Again, this is for members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9, click the raise hand icon, or submit a speaker card. See no hands raised. See no hands raised at this time. President Garcia, we do have all 5 commissioners in the room, and I can go ahead and get started with the recording for you.
Yes, please.
President Garcia, you're now in record mode.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Friday, August 4th, 2023. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Again, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll calling quorum this morning. We have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis is still in the room, Commissioner Corzan, and Commissioner Reyes. President Garcia, you do have quorum at this time.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Campos. We do not have any public comments.
President Garcia, no public comments under general public comment. We also have no commentary on any of the items and also no commentary from the neighborhood council comment section.
Very well. General public comments now officially closed. Moving on to the first item on today's business, which is the approval of the minutes of Friday, July 21st, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
A second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to approve the approval of the minutes of Friday, July 21st, 2023.
Absolutely. Let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan,
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimously. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Campos. Dr. Campos, my understanding is that we do have a presentation today, a HBCU presentation.
We do. We have a presentation for recognizing our HBCU student engineers that have joined us through a virtual program. We have Michael Simpson on the line through the Zoom application. I will go ahead and spotlight him for you, and then also Dr. Davis.
Very well. Let's move on to today's presentation. And I'm going to pass over the mic to Dr. Davis to lead us on the HBCU presentation. My understanding, these are our virtual interns that participated in this summer internship, and we are recognizing now their efforts. We have a lot going on. You guys have a lot going on with HBCU. That's really good to see, Dr. Davis. Very much. Okay, so I turn it over to you. Are you ready, or do you want me to take some items first? Okay, we're good to go?
Yes, and just a really quick comment for those students that are joining us through the Zoom application. As soon as you receive an invitation to join us as a panelist, if you can please just accept that invitation so that we can go ahead and open up your videos and your microphone so that we can highlight you to our Board of Public Works.
Let me know.
All right, Dr. Davis.
Thank you so very much, President Aurora Garcia, and to distinguished members of the Board of Public Works and executive staff and members of the City of Los Angeles who are here assembled. In the City of Los Angeles, our goal and vision is to reflect the values of our leadership. Not only Mayor Karen Bass, who has led a life of public service in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the various leadership roles she's had in this state, through being the first African-American woman who is or was the Speaker of the state legislature here in California, as well as various committees in the United States House of Representatives and Congress. And those values are definitely similar to the values of our great city council and distinguished members of our governing body. All 15 of them believe in inclusion. When we deliver services of the City of Los Angeles, we are an organization that is funded by multiple levels of government. We have funds that come specifically from the City of Los Angeles, monies that we get from the County of Los Angeles, as well as the State of California, and ultimately, we get money from the federal government. In many of the projects, particularly in public works, a great lion's share of some of the funds we have come from the United States of America. And so we share the values of this country, which are indelibly imprinted in the fact that not only all men are created equal, but it is a reflection of the inclusion we have witnessed in this country. For those of us who happen to have been from the African American experience, we know the history of this country, and we know that there was a time when we began to develop education. And when doing so, we were able to establish higher education for a generation of American citizens who were going to continue to be a part of a country that they helped to build. As a result of that, we have the history of higher education in this country that started with Allegheny University. I think it was in 1849, which was the first university that became Lincoln University that educated African Americans in this country. And we've also had, of course, Wilberforce University, which was the first African American university that was designed by those individuals who happened to be African American, and it was influenced by the AME Church. But since that time, the United States came forward with the Murrow Act, which was an act of Congress that created funding for the education of African American citizens from a public education point of view. So in concept, that is the structure by which we have developed in this country education for American citizens in general, and particularly for African American citizens in particular. When we look in the city of Los Angeles, all of the values that I talked about from our leadership, all of the values in our government are reflected in what we do right now today in the city of Los Angeles. And when we look at the position of publicly funded engineers in the city of Los Angeles, there is a need for us to increase the inclusion of those individuals from the African American community in the engineering profession here in the city of Los Angeles. We are very proud to have been funded by the city of Los Angeles last year in a pilot project that allowed us to embrace students who have the experience from historically black colleges and universities. And by the way, a lot of those students are from the Los Angeles, Southern California, and the state of California, and from this region. And so, even though we receive federal funds and we are a multicultural city, we receive people from all over the world. Certainly, what is really, I think, appreciated is that among those, for some individuals who wonder about the individuals who didn't go to UCLA, didn't go to USC, but that those students from California that went to other places are welcome back as well. Long story short, we are very proud to have confronted the challenges we have to implement inclusion in the city of Los Angeles. And with that money that the city of Los Angeles has given us, we have been able to embrace the matriculation of students throughout this country, particularly from HBCUs, to collaborate with the city of Los Angeles and its publicly funded resources to learn engineering. And after having done so successfully last year, the department leaders in the great city of Los Angeles have decided to fund this effort themselves, to expand our opportunity to include others in the collaboration of learning engineering. And so today we're here because this is the first year that we have built upon the pilot project that we were fortunate enough to execute last year. In this work, we are very fortunate to have the Department of Public Works Bureau of Sanitation that has provided the leadership to help coordinate all of the various units that hire engineers in a program that could be of benefit to this great organization called the City of Los Angeles. With that, it is my honor to introduce to you Michael Simpson, who is a principal engineer in the Bureau of Sanitation for the great Department of Public Works. And Michael has assumed the role to help coordinate all of the various departments, and all of our departments who participate, we are grateful for on this Board of Public Works. And I would be remiss not to thank the Department of Water and Power, who also, even though they are not directly with Public Works, they have given us a yeoman's job at demonstrating the importance of inclusion. We believe in the City of Los Angeles that we have great opportunities. We've been fortunate enough to get great government money from every level of government. And even though the federal government tells us that if we're going to spend their money, it's going to have to be in an objective and inclusive way, but we do it on our own. So having said all of that, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Michael Simpson, who takes great pride in helping to coordinate this effort on behalf of the city. And we have demonstrated in our city that what we do matters nationally. We have been the recipient of the Corporate Diversity Award for the premier engineering society at the National Society of Black Engineers just recently this past March in Kansas City. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our principal engineer for the City of Los Angeles Bureau of Sanitation and the coordinator, the engineering coordinator of our HBCU engineering recruitment program, Michael Simpson.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis, and good morning to all the board members, Bureau Executive, and the board president, Ariel Garcia. So this year was a very challenging year because we didn't have the grant, but I'd like to say that the departments and bureaus really stepped up and using their own funding to pay the student salary. So that was great to see that they had they're buying into this program. It wasn't a hard sell. So the bureaus and departments did a great job, and it just flabbergasted me how much they want to support the program. So last year we only had 12. This year we had 20. Hopefully next year we'll get up to 30. So this program is really broad. It's nationwide. We get a lot of calls from other entities that want to duplicate this program, and it's been a great pleasure leading the program. So this year I did appoint a different person. He's gonna give you background on what we did this year. His name is Tom White. He's from my division. He's the one that arranged a 200-hour internship program with a lot of great subjects for the interns, and he helped place the students in the different departments, and he ran the program really well this year. I'll let Tom give a few words, then we'll hear from the students. Tom?
Thank you, Michael. Good morning, board commissioners. Pleasure to be here. Yeah, the HBCU program, this is the second year of the program. We get interns, engineering interns from the HBCU colleges, and we have all the department bureaus in the city that do engineering work. Sorry if I leave anybody out. Public Works Bureau of Street Services, Public Works Bureau of Street Lighting, LAWA, Port of LA, LADWP, Department of Building and Safety, Bureau of Engineering. Might be leaving someone out. Department of Transportation. Anyways, they all make presentations to the students. We had 21 of them this year, which is an increase of what we had from last year. And they come from all over the U.S. Very happy to be in the program. And without delay, I'll go on ahead and they can start introducing themselves.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Trent Mosley. I'm a senior mathematics major with a business minor at Morehouse College from Los Angeles, California. Just want to say thank you to everybody for this program. It was an amazing program, very informative. But one thing I can appreciate about all of the information is just seeing how much goes into civil engineering that you don't hear about in undergrad.
Hey everybody, my name is Shelton Amaram. I go to Prairie View A&M University, and I'm a senior chemical engineering major. One thing I liked about the program, well, first, I just want to say thank you for providing us with this opportunity to learn about the many different departments in the city of LA. And, one thing I liked was just, the amount of time spent by each company to really, tell us, about the different projects they work on. And even though I'm a chemical engineering major, I got to learn, some civil engineering stuff as well. So that's what I appreciated.
Hello, my name is Jariah Putney. I am a senior civil engineering student from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. And once again, I would like to thank everyone for this program. Learning a lot about my field in civil engineering and everything that goes into it. It's very different from just sitting through lectures at school versus actually learning how it's really done. And it was really eye-opening for me.
Good day, everyone. My name is Okoyemi Fadikwe. I'm a doctoral student at Morgan State University. I would like to thank everyone for this great opportunity. This program is like no other one. It integrates what we've learned in school and having a hands-on experience, knowing how it is actually done, and knowing how the various center apply the basic engineering principle we've learned a lot has really showed me a great deal. And once again, I want to say thank you for the wonderful time, for the mentors and everyone we have during the program. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sydney Wright. I attended Jackson State University. I'm a recent graduate in civil engineering. And I would say that one thing that this program provides you without, besides from the technical perspective, is learning soft skills, being able to communicate with other people, presenting ideas, and things of that nature, which I really appreciate because sometimes our class doesn't give us that opportunity to have presentations and things of that nature all the time. So I really appreciate all the experience and technical skills I was able to learn while I was with you guys for this tenure. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Spencer Williams. I am a recent grad from Southern University. And one thing I generally liked about this program was learning about the various projects different engineers had from their respective fields, and also getting getting something in-depth about how they worked on the project and went about completing the project. And I want to thank everyone for letting me experience this program. It was really good to experience it from my undergrad career.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abdullah Hanmis. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a senior civil engineer. I want to thank everyone for the intern program, give us the opportunity to learn a lot of things. And the one thing I want to mention, I did learn I'm a civil, but I did learn about electric and chemical and mechanics, all the majors. And thank you.
Are there others, Mike? Mr. Did we get everyone?
I think that's all that came today. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, some students weren't able to be here because they had prayer commitments, graduations, and so on to attend.
Sure. Thank you both, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, okay, good. So we want to thank Mike, and we want to thank our other staff. I'm forgotten what your name. Our other engineer who is coordinating. I apologize for not seeing your name here. But thank you so very much, the two of you and all of the engineers throughout the city of Los Angeles who have worked in this program and helped to make sure that we are able to create opportunities to help create the kind of diversity and demographics in our engineering employment that reflect the city of Los Angeles. We know that we can do this. when we're able to do the research and we're able to do the outreach to places where we find those individuals from Los Angeles and those with talent to bring the engineering skills to the nation's second largest city. And we often think that perhaps people here, I don't know why we think this, but in some circles you'll hear within the organization, well, people don't want to come here from back east. Well, that obviously cannot be true. We have people from all over the world here, and so it's just very rewarding to see that we're able to make considerable progress in reflecting the kind of diversity that we want to see in Los Angeles from our leadership and from our Board of Public Works. I want to thank the young people for engaging in this project, and I hope that not only you've learned a lot about engineering, I hope that you get a great feeling about Los Angeles and that you will consider Los Angeles among the choices that you have to practice public engineering. I will conclude by saying in engineering, certainly private industry pays a lot, but the value in exercising public engineering employment is the benefit that you have as a public servant. Oftentimes, there are pensions that public servants have, which is of significant value as you reflect back upon your work. And so I hope that, again, you will not only learn great things in this project from engineering, but that you will make sure that Los Angeles is among the choices that you know you have moving forward in your life. Thank you so very much for your participation. May have some remarks about the program, please feel free.
Definitely. Colleagues, Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Thanks for all the students and graduates that are with us this morning, just from all over the country. I commend you for doing this program. I'm glad that I was able to participate also with you all, just to be one of your guest speakers. I hope that you are able just to glean some information out of what the City of Los Angeles has to offer, the diverse projects that you're able to make an imprint on and also leave your own legacy on with the City of Los Angeles. I think it's important just to be able to get hands-on experience. I commend Pro Tem Davis for being able to bring this together, and I think it's important to be able to reach out to others to bring that knowledge here to California and to Los Angeles and to diversify our own workforce. But I'm hoping that you're able to, reach out and also be a participant of our workforce here in Los Angeles. And congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Commissioner Corson or Commissioner Reyes? Go with Commissioner Reyes.
Good morning and congratulations first and foremost to all of you. Thank you, Michael Simpson and Tom Wyatt, for helping coordinate this wonderful program. I just have one word to really excite all our students today. The word is curiosity. I want you to continue being curious because I believe that you can learn more about humanity, learn more about your environment, and use that curiosity that we have as kids to help transform your lives and take advantage of the many resources and opportunities that lie before you. And having said that, I know that this program has really embedded that curiosity and also that transformational value about diversity and inclusion, which the city highly espouses as one of its priority values. Is really looking at how our community develops, how our community thrives through the various diverse talents that we ourselves, home grow, so to speak. So take advantage of the opportunities before you. I wish you good luck. in your next chapter. Continue being curious and continue to grow and learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. Congratulations, Dr. Davis, for another year of a great, successful program. And to those participants, this is a two-way street. I know you benefited greatly from your participation, but I truly believe the city also benefited as well, whether learning things about how, maybe how, a government functions in your local neighborhood, or you learned that LA is a place to come and visit, to come and work, to come and live, or you learned that maybe going into civil infrastructure, public service is your next career path. So congratulations to all of you. Congratulations, Dr. Davis and our city family who helped create a successful program again.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. And just before we let you go, I just want to wish you all a happy graduation and, happy, celebrate yourselves, celebrate with your loved ones, because you have made a huge accomplishment. I heard some of you seniors, I heard somebody else that they just graduated. Congratulations, you're about to enter another stage of your life where you're about to see what, school did for you. And hopefully this experience has broadened your perspective on things that you could be part of. Now you know the city, now you know the internal departments that we have for the city, and now you know how valuable engineers are to the city, and not just to the city of LA, to any city. Because at the end of the day, I know that Dr. Davis and I share this, we want you to be successful. You yourself as an individual, we want you to be successful and thrive wherever you land, meaning a job or your own firm or whatever it is that you decide to do after today. We're very glad that you were part of this decision that can broaden your expectations of what is out there, that you are now able to see that not just in a big city like LA, but other cities also do hire and have engineers that do very important work for civic engagement. So thank you, because you are about to enter a life of of what you can do now. It is your turn now. It is your turn to exercise everything you have learned. So thank you once again for being part of this very good internship that we were able to put together. But I want to thank again Dr. Davis for his leadership, Mr. Simpson, and the other, we can't see your name, so we apologize for that, but the other engineer on the line, Mike?
Thomas, yeah.
Thomas Wyatt. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas Wyatt, Mr. Simpson again, and of course, Dr. Davis for leading this big effort. And we're very proud to do it. And I'm excited to do another round next year.
That's right. I will just conclude, President Garcia and distinguished members of the board, as we embrace these new talented engineering students, I am remindful of the role that HBCUs have played in this country towards the civil rights movement and inclusion. And during the 60s, the students at North Carolina A&T State University, and I see that one of our engineers is from there, in February of 1960 started the sit-in movements when there was a test about if African Americans were worthy to integrate restaurants and to go out publicly. And it was the students in this country that led this nation in sitting in to the Woolworth lunch counters. And they asked the president of North Carolina A&T at the time, why was it that he was tolerating his students in many ways disobeying the law that said that they could not sit into the restaurant during that time? Dr. Warmoth T. Gibbs, and Dr. Gibbs said to the press, the mark of a great institution is to teach students how to think, not what to think. And I conclude today to say that I hope that you have found through your experience in the internship program here in the city of Los Angeles, where you have observed people from all over the world working, teaching you as well, and obviously living here in Los Angeles. And I hope that those of you who have matriculated in our fellowship program have discovered that Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, is that same kind of institution that seeks to teach you how to think, but not what to think. Congratulations, and thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. And with that, we conclude today's HBCU internship, virtual internship program. And we hope, again, we wish you all the best in your next endeavor. And we hope to do this once again next year, Mr. Simpson and Mr. Blythe and Mr. Dr. Davis. All right, thank you. Have a good rest of the day, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
It's so good to have people from all over the country. It sounds so good when they say Tennessee and they say North Carolina. You're like, everybody's in other places. Thank you. All right. Well, Dr. Davis, thank you again for leading us in that really nice recognition of our interns. And again, like I said, we hope to have this thriving program next year again and start a new group of interns. And with that, I slowly now transition us to our first item on today's business. We can't take pictures. Normally, we would take pictures with you out here or in the back, but given that you're virtually, hopefully we were able to get a screenshot out there, but wherever you're at, please go out and celebrate for a second, and well accomplished. Thank you. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 1. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and Council District 14 for a task order solicitation number 78 IBI Group, pre-qualified on-call consultants list, asphalt plant number 1, phase 2. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to issue the task to IBI Group from the pre-qualified on-call architectural design services consultants list to provide architectural and engineering services for the asphalt plant number 1, phase 2, as stated in task order number 78, with a budget authority of $449,328.25, which includes contingency. And this morning for item number 1, we have Mr. Marcelino Asensio. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Hi, good morning, Madam President, distinguished members of the board, and most welcome guests and the public. My name is Marcelino Asensio. I'm a senior civil engineer for the Bureau of Engineering. I'm here to discuss item number 1. Asphalt plant number 1, phase 2, is located at 2601 East 25th Street, which is operated by Streets LA, approximately 1.2 miles from asphalt plant number 1. Phase 2 will develop the site as a satellite storage facility for reclaimed asphalt and increase the current storage capacity of Streets LA. The project includes design and installation of an enclosed canopy, much needed staff offices, a truck scale, concrete bins, utility connections, and other necessary site improvements to provide additional storage, much needed storage, and transportation space. That being said, the original modernization and replacement project was commissioned back in 2019 and has a capacity to produce approximately 700,000 tons of hot mixed asphalt, and currently utilizes approximately 50% of reclaimed asphalt pavement. The original designer was CH2M Hill, and so again, the proposed scope includes a demolition of existing concrete platform to enlarge a working area, construction of approximately 22,600 square feet, and a 46-foot tall canopy to cover stockpiles of the asphalt. It also includes break room, electric room, and utility connections and other site improvements necessary. The task order solicitation will utilize the design build methodology and request that the consultant provide a 20% bridging document, which will include architectural and engineering design. It should be noted that the task order 78 was issued on June 28, 2022 to all 20 firms on our pre-qualified architectural list, and the deadline was actually submitted to July 28th, so approximately a month, or sorry, to August 18th, so roughly a month, in order to get more proposals. We only had one proposal from the IBI group, and the original proposal was $523,134. This was negotiated down to $374,440 in October of last year. The request, as noted, is for $449,328, which includes contingency for that proposal. And so the the rough schedule for these bridging documents will take about 6 months, in which will take another few months for bid and award. And then the design build will take approximately 2 years. That's what we're currently estimating for the whole overall project schedule. It also should be noted that relative to the city's standard business inclusion program, which is very important to the Bureau as well as the board, the proposal will meet the standard for minority, the MIBI and EBE and DVBE. However, due to the limited scope and also only receiving one proposal, availability of sub-consultants, it was not able to reach the participation goal for WBE and SBE. With that, that concludes my presentation, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Asensio. You did a very well job, really walking us through the report here. Any questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas?
Thank you, and thanks for your report, and thank you for just the history on this facility. I just have a quick question. Part of the scope on this project includes, and if you don't have the answer to this is fine, you can just get back to me. I like that the scope includes the canopy and then the dust control.
Correct.
And I'm wondering if having those aspects included in this asphalt plan, if we are thinking that that will reduce our fees or costs to AQMD. Do you know that?
I don't know, but I can certainly follow up with that.
Okay. Thank you. That's all my questions. Appreciate your report and glad we're getting this underway. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Commissioner Reyes?
I just want to commend you for the comprehensive and very understandable packet before me. And also to mention that I like the fact that it included the requirements for sustainable efforts, like the low impact development ordinance, for example, which for some time, that's an ordinance and not a lot of our projects really mention that as part of that requirement. Same thing with a green building ordinance. I saw the requirement for building electrification, which will help decarbonize our emissions, and at the same time the building and zoning codes. So thank you for including that, and I wish more of our projects are going to be inclusive of those requirements. They are requirements, but just specifically mentioning it in that project helps a lot in making sure that those requirements are complied with. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd just like to note also that's in collaboration with Streets LA, and so part of that collaboration was making sure those requirements were included.
Perfect, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Any other questions? I have a brief question. You said only one contractor submitted to the call. Do you know why? Or do you have any speculation of why we didn't get more proposals?
I don't have a definitive answer for your question. I do know that we did extend the deadline. We did reach out to consultants again, and unfortunately, we only received one. We were able to negotiate the fee down. I can follow up with you to see more detailed response on.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how many are on the list, and then how many, why aren't they responding? And if we need to clear out some of that list, or some of these contractors out of business, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but
sure.
I just think that one out of, I imagine there's more than 5 on that list. Right?
Yes, there are several. I'll follow up with the exact number and as well as some explanation.
Yeah, thank you for that, Marcelino. Okay, colleagues, any other questions? Any objections? Hearing none. Oh, Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Just one more, and that's just for, so we can just be transparent. The on-call list will be expiring soon, and we will go out for a new list, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Oh, perhaps that's a good opportunity to clear out what we need, if there's any old contractors. And I'm also curious, I also want to know, we have contractors sometimes in these lists for years and years and years, and they never submit or they never, put in a bid when we do a call. I just want to, let's start clearing that out so that we can make more opportunities for other folks to come in.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, colleagues, given that we don't have any objection, is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. Let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimously. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Asensio. Have a good weekend. All right, moving on to item number 2. This is a request in Council District 15 for construction services contract Cisco, Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plan Headworks, Isolation Gates Installation Capital Improvement Project CIP 8428. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to use construction services contract Cisco and issue task work orders to the contractor for an amount not to exceed $957,000 for the CIP 8428 Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plant Headworks Isolation Gates Installation Project. And this morning we have Mr. Malik here.
Yes. Good morning, board.
Welcome.
My name is Faz Malik, and I'm a senior civil engineer with the Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. And I'm here today to brief you on CIP 8428, the LAG Headworks Isolation Gates Installation Project. This project proposes to improve the preliminary treatment system at the Headworks facility, which includes screening and grit removal. The existing system has 2 bar screen channels installed at the Headworks facility, and currently the effluent slide gate in bar screen channel 1 is damaged and needs to be replaced in order for proper operation and isolation of the channel. This gate was installed in 1995 and has corroded over time. It's stuck in an open position and can no longer be closed. This project will rehabilitate channel 1 and install a new stainless steel slide gate equipped with the controls actuator. The channel will also be cleared of sediment and debris to allow safe access for the construction crew and proper channel isolation for maintenance. The total construction budget for this project is $957,000. We're requesting to utilize the Cisco contract for the project because it will ensure timely and cost-effective project delivery, as the Cisco contract allows for adjustments and flexibility in construction work plans due to varying shutdown times and operational needs of the plant. The project provides great value to the city and is a proactive measure to increase resilience and reduce potential vulnerabilities at the plant. With that said, we're recommending that the board authorizes the city engineer to use the Cisco contract for an amount not to exceed $957,000. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malik, for your information. I have just a very technical question. Is Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plan in Council District 15? I don't think so.
No.
It's not, right? On your board report, we have it under Council District 15, so you might want to change that.
Okay.
What council is it in? Do you know, Adina?
Glendale? What
14?
Sounds right. Oh, Kevin De Leon? No.
It's in Glendale, but it's...
I can find out.
Okay, good. But I know definitely it's not in 15. Yeah.
He has Lincoln Heights here.
Okay, we'll confirm and
Okay, please do so and make the proper corrections on your board report as well.
There's a LA portion.
Okay, so any other questions on this item? Maybe 13 or 14, yeah, one of the two.
So it's one
Yeah.
of those.
Dr. Davis, any questions?
No questions for me.
Okay, any other questions, colleagues? Well, we understand the need for this. If something is getting corroded, first and foremost, and it was installed in 1995, that's like now 20, almost 30 years.
Right.
It's
Close to
time
30.
to change. Yeah, I understand. Perfect. Thank you so much for bringing this to the board, and we look forward to making sure we upgrade all of our systems so that we do not have any accidents. All right, so with that said, are there any objections, colleagues? Seeing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith?
Second.
I'm going to take Commissioner Reyes as a first and second by VP Villegas. Dr. Campos is the first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimously. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Malik. Please make sure to just confirm the council district.
Will do.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, this is a sole source procurement of process equipment and services, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, 1 Mile Chamber Pump Station, Capital Improvement Project CIP 2487, and Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, Stormwater Discharge and Piping Separation CIP 2492. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the city engineer to increase the not-to-exceed amount for the sole source procurement of process equipment and services by Rockwell Automation Allen Bradley Local Control Panel Programmable Logic Controller by $50,000 for an amount not to exceed $130,000 for the CIP 2487 Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant 1 Mile Chamber Pump Station. 2, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation to request the city engineer to sole source the selection of 3 vertical turbine pumps and services by Fairbanks Negus, I hope I'm saying that right, for an amount not to exceed $1,250,000 for the CIP 2492 Stormwater Discharge Piping Separation. And 3, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation to request the city engineer to sole source the selection of 3 Rockwell Automation Allen Bradley Model Compa Logics with 15 inches human machine interface Model 5310 software and services for an amount not to exceed $390,000 for CIP 2492 Stormwater Discharge Piping Separation. And Mr. Malik, you're here on this item again. I hope through your report you can tell us who's authorizing who, because I see Director, City Engineer.
Right. There's a lot going on. Okay, so we'll take it project by project.
Perfect.
Okay, so good morning again. So today I'll be briefing on the sole source procurement of process equipment and services for CIP 2487, the Hyperion 1 Mile Chamber Pump Station, and CIP 2492, the Hyperion Stormwater Discharge Piping Separation. So starting off with CIP 2487, the Hyperion 1 Mile Chamber Pump Station proposes to improve the plant's operation and maintenance by constructing a permanent pump system to allow for safe removal of secondary effluent. So for this project, we're recommending to increase the $70,000 approved by the board on April 16, 2021 for Rockwell Automation Allen Bradley Local Control Panel, LCP, and Programmable Logic Controller, PLC, to $130,000. This increase is necessary to supply chain issue. This increase is necessary because of the recent supply chain issues and continued rising inflation. So that's the first authorization. Now for CIP 2492, the Hyperion Stormwater Discharge Piping Separation project. The objective of this project is to prevent accidental discharge of materials of sewage origin into the Santa Monica Bay. So for this project, we're recommending a not-to-exceed amount of $1.25 million for the procurement of 3 vertical turbine pumps from Fairbanks Nyhouse and $390,000 for 3 Rockwell Automation Allen Bradley LCP and PLCs. So the Fairbanks Nyhouse vertical turbine pumps have proven reliable over the last 35 years, and using them would be cost-effective because it would minimize modifications to the existing pump station. Additionally, LA Sanitation has standardized the Rockwell Automation Allen Bradley LCP PLCs. To date, more than 50 have been installed throughout the city's 4 water reclamation plants. Standardizing has allowed for more efficient operation and maintenance. The construction budget for these projects was approved by LA Sanitation's Program Review Committee on February 9th, 2022, with no impact on the general fund. To summarize, we're recommending authorizing the sole source procurement and services of these projects to ensure efficiency, cost effectiveness, and the smooth execution of our strategic initiatives at Hyperion. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malik, for that. Any questions? Vice President Villegas and then Dr. Davis.
Thank you, and I appreciate your report. If you can just give a little bit more of a characterization, two questions. Just give a little bit more characterization on the second project, the 2492, on just a little bit more background.
Okay, so 2492, the Hyperion Stormwater Discharge Piping Separation Project. So currently, the existing infrastructure has 3 different primary side streams connected. What I mean by that is, right now at Hyperion, we have secondary return pipelines that include primary dewatering from the primary tanks, secondary scum from the secondary treatment, and the in-plant central contaminated sewer water. Storm drain water, excuse me. So all these pipelines right now are connected as they head back to headworks. And because you have sewage connected to a storm drain pipe, there's a possibility where you might have leakage into the ocean. And this is like material of sewage origin. So what this project is going to do, it's going to separate all these streams into separate pipelines. So after this project is completed, the sewage lines and the storm drain lines are going to be separate, so there's no chance of mixing.
Okay, thank you. Will this help us in our long-term planning for,
Yeah, so this-
but for like Hyperion 2035?
So it doesn't play into that so much because Hyperion 2035 is going to bring in an advanced water purification facility. So the secondary sludge, the primary sludge, that's still going to remain. But what this project is going to do, it's just going to make the plant more resilient, right? In the sense that we're separating it. So it's like, does that make sense? Or
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, and so then our stormwater is going to have a different pipe than
Potentially,
our other pipe. And so then where's the stormwater going?
So the stormwater also goes back to headworks. So this is a contaminated storm drain at the plant. So when there's spills or if there's like overflow, the storm drain captures that excess and then it head back to headworks to be treated in the plant.
All right. Thank you for that explanation.
Yeah, no problem.
That was good. Thank you. I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Davis?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the contingency, if in fact, on item 1, is that a $10,000 contingency included in that $130,000 for the chamber pump station, or are there contingency fees included in both of the items 1 and 2?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Could you repeat that question, please?
Did we put in a contingency fee for the request that we made for those items 1 and 2?
Yes, we did. It includes contingency.
So on item 1, is it about $10,000?
About usually 10% contingency.
Okay, 10% in both H. And so that's also true for the 1.2 on item number 2.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Commissioner Reyes?
Just to make sure it's clear, just piggybacking on the question of VP Villegas. So with the 2 separate pipes, will that minimize the risk of accidental discharges or leakage? Because
Yes.
there are now 2 separate, because I'm always thinking about risks.
Right. So yeah. So currently there are check valves that keep these 2 combined pipes from intercontaminating, but check valves can fail, right? But now if they're 2 completely separate pipelines, there's no mixing. So it'll be definitely more resilient in that sense.
There will be different sensors, monitors, monitoring
Different
system.
sensors, different pipeline, completely different processes altogether.
And of course, we're talking about, mitigation, right? In the end.
Right.
Okay.
So this meets like the Regional Water Quality Control Board, NVDS, permit requirements.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Mr. Malik. Any other questions, Vice President Villegas?
Just one last question. You mentioned that this type, the new piping separation, is that a best management practice? Are you doing that at other water reclamation facilities too?
So I believe it's being done at TI because we also, I believe so. It is done at the other plants because the effluent goes, like for LAG, DCT, the effluent goes into the LA River, and at TI it also goes into the ocean. So it is done.
Thank you.
And then I was able to, going back to the previous board report, CIP 8428, the council district is 13. I was able to confirm that.
Thank you very much. We'll make that note on that. Okay, I don't have any questions. I like this. So I think I take that back. I do have a question. Picking back on Vice President Villegas' question about, is this something that we do in other plants? Is the separation of the, for lack of a better word, the lanes of the stormwater and the wastewater, is that something that is done industry, like in other cities? Or, and my question, I guess, leads to, why hadn't we done that before?
I think it's because Hyperion's an old plant.
Okay.
And there was really no need to separate it until 2 years ago when the spill happened. And then at that point, everyone looked at how can we improve the plant from like a resilience aspect. And that's why this project got pushed out, because we redesigned it to make it more sustainable and just resilient.
Very well. So I think this goes to Commissioner Reyes, this attributes to the improvement of our system of Hyperion, something that we can also bring some light to on the ways that we are improving.
Right.
Perfect.
It's
Thank you.
it's part of Hyperion's resiliency program that was initiated after the spill.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that as well. Okay, so with that said, any objections, colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Campos, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 3 forward and forthwith.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimously. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Malik, and have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, colleagues, moving on to item number 4. This is a request in all council districts for an AFE exam fees reimbursement to inspectors. Bureau of Contract Administration and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $50,000 for reimbursement for exam fees to inspectors as stipulated in MOU 5 Article 5.9. And this morning we have Ms. Martinez here on this item. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, President Garcia, distinguished members. This request today is for the new fiscal year through June 30th, 2024. Approval of this authority for expenditure of $50,000 will allow our Bureau to reimburse construction inspectors, senior construction inspectors, and electrical inspectors, who are eligible to receive reimbursement under MOU 5 for books and exam costs for obtaining deputy licenses. All of these inspectors are entitled to this reimbursement once they provide the Bureau with evidence, receipts, their deputy licenses, that they successfully obtained a license in any of 11 specialty areas. Approval provides BCA with an expenditure limit of $50,000 for the new fiscal year. The funding source is existing budgeted funds. Payments under this AFE will be issued to individual employees once they submit the required documentation showing that they are eligible for reimbursement. There are currently 74 construction inspectors out of 200 who hold deputy licenses. Of those 74 inspectors, there is a total amount of 340 deputy licenses. Reimbursements are processed throughout the year since licenses are obtained year-round and the license expires every 3 years. Employees can hold multiple deputy tickets. Each is eligible to receive reimbursements for exam prep and book costs and the LADBS exam, which it's $525 for renewal and $575 for a new applicant. So therefore, each employee is entitled to approximately $1,600 in reimbursements per deputy license. There is a note here. It says trending has remained relatively constant over the past 6 years, and no significant increase or decrease in inspector participation has been observed. That concludes my report for the day. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Martinez. Any questions, colleagues? Hearing none, we all support the professional development and anything that has to do with getting our staff always well prepared for their jobs. So thank you, Ms. Martinez, for bringing this to the board. Given that there aren't any questions, any objections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 4 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, is there first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 4 forward and forthwith?
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimously. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Have a good weekend.
You too, and thank you again for all of your support to BCA.
Yes.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you too. Enjoy. All right, colleagues, moving on to our oral report section. We are done with all of our voting items for today. And Mr. Bingalow is here, excited to come up. Come on down. Item number 5 for a status update on major upcoming street improvement projects from the Bureau of Street Services. All right, Mr. Bingalow.
Good morning, President Garcia, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, and Dr. Campos. My name is Paul Bingaman, Superintendent with Street Renewal Division, Streets LA. This information is being provided to keep the public informed on upcoming resurfacing projects and to minimize the impact on the community as well as delays for commuters. For additional information or concerns, you can contact our coordinating section for the Street Renewal Division at 213-847-3200. The following major street projects are scheduled in the Valley region during the week of August 6th, 2023 through August 12th, 2023. On Tuesday, August 1st, 2023 through Wednesday, August 9th, 2023, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will begin cold milling and paving Ventura Boulevard from Lindley Ave to Etowanda Ave in CD3 Tarzana Neighborhood Council Paving Preservation Fund. Tuesday, August 8th, 2023 through Saturday, August 19th, 2023, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will begin cold milling and paving Laurel Terrace Drive from Laurel Canyon Boulevard to Ventura Boulevard, CD4, Studio City Neighborhood Council, Pavement Preservation Fund. Additionally, we will provide an update to our 23-24 Pavement Preservation Program. During the week of August 6th through August 12, 2023, the Valley and Metro regions will complete 12 projects for a total of 8.07 lane miles. The press releases were distributed and notifications have been issued. Streets LA has coordinated with the council offices to assist with the outreach to stakeholders. We have coordinated with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This information is also available on the Streets LA website using the resurfacing open projects icon. And this concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bringalow, for that. Any questions on our streets improvement projects? Seeing none, have a good weekend, sir.
All right, you guys as well. Thank you.
You too. Moving on to item number 6, this is a status update on project labor agreements from the Bureau of Contract Administration. And this morning we have Mr. Ian Monte, always making sure that we know what's going on with project labor agreements. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners, other representatives. My name is Ian Monte, representing the Office of Contract Compliance with the Bureau of Contract Administration. And let me just use a point of personal privilege. I envy the last speaker because his presentation was very short, and because mine is data-driven with metrics and a bunch of numbers, mine probably won't be as short as his, but I will do what I can to expedite this. So with that being said, I am here to provide a status report for the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement, otherwise known as the DPW PLA. And for those that are listening that are unaware of what a project labor agreement is, it's essentially a covenant between the city and the various trades, the labor trades rather, of the Los Angeles and Orange County Building and Construction Trades Council. And the PLA gives the terms, conditions, and provisions of how labor will be used to build these publicly funded construction projects. And so what I'm going to do is briefly walk through some data as it relates to date and the last 12 months, more or less fiscal year 2022, 2023, and I'll give what those dates are momentarily. And so going through this report to date, the DPW PLA has covered 143 projects with a total award value of $1.7 billion, B with as in boy. Now, these 143 projects have resulted in 22,317 workers performing 5,830,652 hours. Now, this number is very important because one of the mass advantages of this particular PLA is the targeted hiring requirements on it for the hiring of local workers. When we say local workers, we're talking about Angelenos. So the PLA offers opportunities for Angelenos to come work on these projects and ultimately further their opportunities to get a job and really an opportunity at a career. And so the PLA has three specific targeted hiring metrics that are requirements on each project. So at least 30% of all of the project hours must be performed by a city resident. At least 50% or half of the apprentice hours on a project must be performed, again, by city residents. And those are city residents who would be in an apprenticeship program. And last but certainly not least, at least 10% of all of the project hours must be performed by city residents that have some sort of barrier to employment in their background, whether it would be a criminal history, they're a veteran, or even documented homeless. And so of these 5.8 million project hours, you're looking to date, again, 2,204,594 of those hours were performed by 6,536 Angelenos. That's awesome. And that equates to 38% of those local hours on that 30% goal. For the transitional workers, 1,069,774 hours were performed by 1,366 transitional workers. And so now you're talking about 1 million hours that those workers with various barriers to employment that live in the city got to work on these projects. And finally, when we're looking at apprenticeship utilization, which is a requirement on all public works projects, grand total of 1,320,648 apprentice hours were performed by 5,712 apprentices. Of that, 819,837 local apprentice hours were performed by 2,537 apprentices, which would be 62% on that 50% goal. And I didn't state it, but with the transitional workers, you're talking about 18% on that 10% goal. So these numbers are phenomenal, but again, they're to date since the inception of the PLA back in 2011. These numbers have totaled in terms of wages reinvested back into our communities, because again, these are Angelenos. These are the people that live in all of the communities that surround this great city. You're talking about $79,959,071.15 that projects covered under the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement has reinvested back into the city. I anticipate that number hitting 80 million probably sometime next week, and would have loved to be able to say 80 million, but 79.9 will do. But those are the numbers to date. And so what I want to do very briefly is just talk about what has happened over the last 12 months. And so for the last 12 months, we're going to use fiscal year 22-23, which for those that are unaware, That would be July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And this data is as of yesterday, August 3rd. So in the last 12 months, we've had 45 projects awarded with a grant award total of $592.49 million. These 45 projects have seen 2,940 workers, including 535 apprentices, perform 447,120 project work hours. Of those, you have 922 local resident workers who performed 191,152 hours, or 43% of those total work hours. Again, that's on a 30% goal. So in the last 12 months, the local work hours are exceeding the goal by 13%. Amazing. You also have 276 local resident apprentices that have worked on these projects, and they have performed 71,751 of 99,941 apprentice hours, or 72%, on a 50% goal. Amazing again. Finally, you have 189 transitional workers who have performed 85,856 hours, or 19% of that 447,000 hours number. Again, 19% on a 10% goal, so it's almost double. And finally, and the coolest metric to me again is $8.12 million have been reinvested back into the community by way of local wages. And so again, this is a testament of certainly staff at BCA and the policymakers, but also the contractors that are collectively performing this work, because they are the ones that are doing the hiring. The jobs coordinators are assisting and helping find the local workers that are going to be a part of this. Certainly the unions are doing their part to help dispatch local workers, and just everyone working together to leverage what it is that they bring to the table to ensure that these achievements just remain as amazing as they are. I have additional data that I have available upon questions, but I'm not going to dig that deep because I don't want to make people dizzy. But again, very much appreciate the opportunity to share with you what is happening with the project labor agreement, and look forward to some future things upcoming with the PLA as well. And I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Ian. We always enjoy your reports. Thank you for that. Any questions, colleagues? I see Dr. Davis.
Yes. Ian, thank you so much for sharing the data with us from the last quarter. And I think I hear you saying that our performance was outstanding in the last quarter in terms of implementing project labor agreements.
The last year, yes.
Could you give me your opinion in terms of the geographic areas, to your knowledge, that have been included in the workers that we have in the project labor agreements, particularly as we look at the high unemployment areas and regions of the city, which are very well known, South Los Angeles and East Los Angeles. How do those areas figure in the makeup of the transitional, transitional workers, but also project labor team? How do those areas, in terms of individuals from those areas, being included in this number?
Well, that's actually a great question. So when you're talking about local workers or city residents rather, it's not necessarily just a blanket statement where anyone that lives anywhere within the city is automatically considered a local worker. The new PLA has 124 zip codes. And those zip codes constitutes what is deemed a local worker by way of Tier 1 or Tier 2. And these zip codes are derived from U.S. Census data that shows either a census tract, or at least two census tracts within each zip code that's a part of these two tiers, where the unemployment rate was higher than the median of LA County, or the median annual household income was lower than the median of LA County. And so you have 124 zip codes within the city that had at least two census tracts that triggered becoming a part of this PLA. The vast majority of those zip codes within the PLA are East Los Angeles zip codes, South Los Angeles zip codes. And when you're talking about the reinvestment and that $79.9 million, it's going back into these communities across the city that need it the most. Now, that doesn't mean that a zip code like 90056, which would be Ladera Heights, does not also have some sort of component to this. But for those residents that live there, it's typically, and they're a part of the PLA, it's typically because they're transitional workers. If you are a transitional worker, you can live anywhere in the city. But again, the PLA was designed to impact the areas that most needed the opportunities. And so that is what South LA and East LA and all of the zip codes in that general populace represent in the PLA.
Now, all of the PLA workers are not transitional workers.
No, they are not. Only 18%. Go ahead.
Yeah, correct. And so definitely I understand the scope of transitional workers may come from anywhere. But as we look at the makeup of the particularly regular, if there's such a thing, of the project labor staff, how do we fare in terms of the inclusion of South LA and East LA? You're saying that they are significantly involved in the makeup of the transition, the traditional, I will call it for the purpose of our discussion, the traditional project labor agreement participant.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is inclusive of South LA.
Absolutely.
And East LA.
Absolutely.
Now, in terms of the demographics of our makeup, oftentimes we have had some problems in terms of what 209 requires.
Sure.
And what it doesn't require. But what we've discovered is that it is not illegal to still find out what the reality and what the fact is.
Absolutely.
In terms of who did get to be and participate. So how would you say we have done in terms of project labor agreements as it relates to, for example, the African American community?
So I actually have data for that. I'll say this, Prop 209, as we would say at the Bureau, doesn't prevent us from asking the question of how particular demographics are being recruited. And while I would love for all of these numbers to be even, they're not. But at the same time, I do also understand that there is the city demographic may lean towards one area more so than African Americans. But again, it doesn't mean that just because the number I'm about to give you is the number over the last 12 months that we should be happy, because we should always be able to push for more. For instance, Latinos over the last 12 months, 1,561 Latinos have worked on the PLA projects, whereas with African Americans, the number is only 105. But again,
How many total have worked on it?
Total?
How many total participants?
Total participants you have is 6,536.
And only 1,000 Latinos out of that?
Say that one more time.
You
Yes.
said only 1,000 Latinos out of 6,000 individuals?
Yes.
Participants in general?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Are we
Now,
sure?
let me ask you this. And so of the African Americans, there were how many?
Actually, you know what? I gave a wrong number. So that number is actually 2,940. I'm thinking about overall. So the actual number of workers on the PLA projects over the last year is 2,940. So
let me be
Go
clear.
ahead.
For the last fiscal year in which you're reporting,
Mm-hmm.
the total participants, the general number, and I know I don't expect you to tell me to the nth degree, just a general, I want a concept of what we're dealing with.
Gotcha.
So what are you telling me in terms of the numbers?
I'm telling you that based on the numbers that were run yesterday, it's about 5%, maybe a touch less, of the total workers on our current PLA projects over the last 12 months have been African American.
5%?
About 5%.
And what's the total number, though? The ballpark figure of the total number participating annually in this report?
2,940.
So it's 2,000, half of whom, that's about right.
Yeah.
In terms, half of whom are Latino.
Are Latino. 1,561.
Uh-huh. And you said 5%, and that ends up being 100 and something?
It's actually a little bit less than 5%. I was being generous as I was doing my quick math. Yeah, it's closer to 4. So, but again, the city demographics of African Americans is about 10%. So even still, it's below there, which again, great for the 105 individuals that have been able to work on the projects, but we have work to do.
So I think you understand as we begin to analyze the numbers that we have. On one hand, it is really great that we have done a good job, and we always do a good job on project labor agreements. But one of the things that we want to also be able to do is to implement improvements as we go along on the projects that we work on. So as we look forward to inclusion moving forward, based upon unemployment, because this is employment. So based upon unemployment, we also want to, with our labor brothers and sisters, talk about how we can embrace inclusion moving forward, as we always have a goal to improve our every project. So I appreciate this report, and as we move forward, certainly there's a need and an opportunity for increase in probably every area. But I just wanted to say it is important that we make sure that that's a discussion we have.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis, for breaking down those numbers. It makes it much more feasible to see, and thank you for that, Ian. Ian, I have one big question is, I know that these folks get hired during the life of the project, right? Once the life of the project is over and it's completed, do you have an analysis of folks actually getting hired, moving with the same company? Is there a career ladder to them, or what happens once the project is over?
So that's a good question, and I don't have the liberty of having all of that analysis because you're talking about the hiring practices of individual contractors, and in order for us to do that, we probably have
Correct.
to push out a survey, but that's not something impossible that we couldn't do. But I will say this, and I'm gonna want to lean back in on apprenticeship, because more so than just someone coming to work on a project as a local worker and being here for 4 months and then going on their way someplace else. Someone that's indentured into an apprenticeship program, it's essentially blue collar college, where I am learning a skill, I am learning a trade, but while I am in class, I'm also working on a project and I'm being paid while doing so. And you're talking about, again, the opportunity for those individuals, whoever they may be, to continue to ascend and invest in their career. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them become union workers because the unions, for the most part, have all of the apprenticeship programs that are there. But what that does is it allows them to be dispatched off the hiring hall book, especially if they're local, for future PLA projects, because that's how the PLA works. But I also know that many of them, I shouldn't use that word, some of them certainly do get hired on by contractors. I'm aware of one particular individual. See, now I wish I had someone here to kind of tell their story. But one individual that went to work on one project as a transitional worker who was an apprentice and impressed so much that when the project was over, they said, hey, you come with us. Now, the project that person went to wasn't necessarily a local project, but they still stayed with that contractor and they still were allowed to continue their apprenticeship because the apprenticeship is statewide. It doesn't matter whether or not the job is in the city. And so we certainly have the ability to track that as it relates to our OCPS system, as long as those workers work within the confines of the projects that would send certified payrolls to us. But we certainly have the ability to track this information. We have relationships with the building and construction trades and, wanting to exchange data to see where apprentices are. But certainly these things do occur, and we can't force a contractor to hire all of the local workers, but what we can do is talk with our jobs coordinators, to talk with our stakeholders to say, hey, when you are identifying workers that would be local to come to these projects, make sure that they understand what opportunity is there to put their best foot forward. If they want you to be there at 6, you be there at 5:15 ready to go, or 5:50 ready to go. To be on time is to be early. And sometimes it just takes one of those tough love type conversations. There's an organization that I'm going to show some love to in this moment called Second Call. And they work on the soft skills rather than how to do construction. They work on your mindset in terms of what you need to understand. And so these are the type of conversations that I think just would be beneficial for anyone that is coming onto a project where they increase the chance that they could become full-time staff.
Got it. Thank you so much for that. I mean, I'm asking if we can, you know, obviously I understand we can't force any of our contractors to do any type of hiring practices, but it'd be great to see those numbers as a testament of the success of the project labor agreement overall. Like, because the point is that we want to have these folks into careers in the long term so that they can improve their lives, right? So nothing to do, you know, just putting it out there. If, you know, we always want to hear that they stay, that they get a job. Is there any city jobs that they can apply to? You know, those are the kind of conversations that we want to make sure now that we've, I guess the front end of the project labor agreement is really well, you know, welcomed, you know, like here it is, now you have to do it. You know, it'll be nice to see as an you know, as a citywide, or because we're not the only ones that do project labor agreements, so do the college districts, so do other government entities that do it. It'd be just good to see if that practice comes with any long-term outcomes.
Got you. Let's certainly continue this particular discussion. I would love to say a lot of things for fear that I'm going to talk myself into a corner.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Put a plug on it there, but I would welcome having further discussions.
Yeah, as you analyze all of this, I would kind of just put it in the back of your head because it'll be good to see where these 1,500 or what is it, 2,940 folks ended up.
Gotcha.
Got it.
I
All
wanted
right.
to say
Go ahead.
too, in our work, President, as across the board, when we deal with this issue of inclusion and equity, we certainly can, and we know what the law is. We can't make anybody do anything, and we're not seeking to make anybody do anything. But one thing that is missing that we can do that we are not doing is having a conversation. We are trying to develop a culture where people want to do it. I don't want to make you do anything, but I certainly want to have those leaders who are forward-thinking and on their own feel that inclusion is critically important. I do want them to realize who they are, and I want them to be able to exercise their leadership skills. So a discussion is not illegal, and we are not having that discussion. There have been instances where we have had discussions with contractors and others around issues that we care about, and I can point those out if pressed. So what I am saying is the discussion and a conversation about our reality of where high employment rate is, of where inclusion is not, is critically important. And then people can still do what they want to do. But having had the conversation makes a difference, because I have seen the conversation been had and it make a difference on other issues. And I think that the one thing we want to do as we move forward for some of the issues that has been discussed by the president is a discussion about that issue. And again, we are all proud of what we do generally, and as human beings, we are always aspiring to achieve. Every day blood rolls through our veins. That's what we're achieving to do when we wake up in the morning. And so the same is true of our project labor agreements. They're great, and they can be even greater. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Davis, for that, and thank you, Ian, for your report. Any other questions to Ian? Hearing none. Thank you so much, Ian. Have a good weekend. We appreciate, again, always bringing project labor agreements to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Campos, have we cleared today's desk?
Yes, you have.
Great. Colleagues, it is now 11:38 and this meeting's officially adjourned. We will meet for a management meeting, short management meeting. Thank you.